Am I streaming? Let's see. Network error. We do. I am live. Okay, it looks good. Let's start. Okay, let's get started then. So I am... Oh, I've got Twitch still open. Need to turn that off. Hello, this is Corbin. I am making a Demon the Descent character for the Chronicles of Darkness game, well, of the name Demon the Descent. This is a 2nd edition character, even though the Demon the Descent book sort of came out in between 1st edition and 2nd edition. Reason I'm doing this is not many people know how to make characters for Demon. Some people might just be familiar with Vampire or Werewolf or any of the other number of Chronicles of Darkness games, and I just kind of wanted to do this to help people get into the game a little bit easier. So I've opened up Roll20 to make a character, since I always use Roll20. If you are new, if you're newly creating a character, you can easily just go over here, open up Roll20, go over here onto the right, hit add, and it will ask you to add either a character or handout or folder. Click character, you'll get a random name generated. You can hit cancel, what have you, delete it. I've got the chat open if anyone's watching and would like to sort of ask questions as I go through. For right now, I'm just going to dive right in. Before you even get to the process of making your character, like having the concept ready, for Roll20 you need to actually put yourself in the Demon the Descent character sheet. By default, the Chronicles of Darkness character sheet will give you a Chronicles of Darkness character sheet, which is usually for mortals or for any other creatures that you want to use in the game. For instance, if I was going to create a random monster that isn't any one of the creatures that already exist in World of Darkness, for instance like Slender Man, I might make him in a Chronicles of Darkness character sheet. But for right now I want to make Demon Descent, so I go to Settings, and make sure that I click down here to Demon the Descent. That's Geist. In this character sheet I've chosen, it has a bunch of added, this is the community character sheet, which a lot more people recommend than the character sheet made by Roll20, because it has a few more character types that you can throw in. They're pretty much identical except for a few minor differences. Like, for instance, in the community character sheet, you can change firearms to archery and drive to ride and computer to enigmas. That's just so that you can play a setting that isn't modern. So now that I've clicked Demon Descent, if I go back to the first page here, I am now in the Demon the Descent character sheet. I can give my character a name. In this case, I'm going to call him Corbin Dallas as just a placeholder because I don't know really what I want to do with him. Player, Corbin. And then this is where I would go into the rule book and start looking up how to do things, but I don't want to just have the rule book in front of me and show you guys everything that's in the rule book and like go over it line by line. I'm just going to start with the what is recommended in the quick reference sheet on page 87, and if you're following me with making your own character, you can go to page 87 and do this as well. So to start off, we do what is known as the basic character creation. We choose the attributes. The attributes for any character in World of Darkness, unless otherwise stated, is essentially you have the attributes here, which are categorized into mental, physical, and social attributes, but also power is the ones at the top row, finesse, and resistance. So power is sort of like, is usually stuff that's more active ability-wise. Honestly, power and finesse to me are usually the same thing. Like they're interchangeable to me. It's really resistance that is a different beast, because resistance is always it's what goes into a lot of your derived stats. Resolve, stamina. Stamina goes into health. Composure goes into, I think, willpower. Luckily, with the Roll20 character sheet, that all that math's done for you, so you don't really have to do much in the way of like math and figuring all the derived stats out. It's come a long way since back in the old days where you just had a piece of paper and had to hope you did the math right, and then hope that when the dungeon master or game master looked at the sheet, they didn't call you out for having illegal stats. I'm relatively new to World of Darkness, so I only started playing it about a year and a half ago. And starting out, there wasn't a lot of material to get going, so I hope this helps you get started in your own campaign or your own game, your own chronicle. So for the attributes, we have your typical intelligence, strength, dexterity from that are used in Dungeons and Dragons, but we also have wits, resolve, stamina, composure, manipulation, presence. As I go through this, I'll say what type of character I'm trying to create. This one, I'm trying to create a demon who is a kind of like the demon that you'd see at like the crossroads. He gives you a deal, but it always comes at a price. But if you don't know Demon the Descent's storyline, essentially you're playing a technostic demon, which basically just means that you're playing a non-Christian. It's an agnostic version of a demon who could fit into any setting, fit into any lore. There's no Christian mythology attached to it, or Christian religion attached to it. It's really just there to be open and allow the storyteller to have some leeway as far as interpretation. The base setting basically says that your demon was actually an angel at one point, created by an entity known as the God Machine, which is kind of this eldritch creature or being that no one really has ever seen, but the angels of the God Machine are present on Earth doing various different tasks and working different conspiracies to basically control the world in the name of the God Machine. Though only the highest rank angel has ever actually probably talked to the God Machine, or at the most, uh, the second level down from the most, um, talk to one of the command and control infrastructure um, nodes for the God Machine. So basically, like the God Machine, powerful entity, he needs to get his message to the people somehow. So what he's done is, or it's done rather, because really it doesn't have a gender, is it creates these little occult matrices, devices, or rituals that let its will be known on Earth. So an angel would take that information and run with it. If the information is to assassinate someone, that angel would tell another angel to go kill this person. If it's to protect someone, they would say protect. If it's to deliver a message to a particular person at a particular time, they would do that. Is it to build another ritual somewhere else to do something completely different? Yes, like that. There's an angel for that. There's even an angel that not many people know about that just sits around watching. They're called the analysts. But essentially, whenever an angel goes against the God Machine, they um, fall. They the fall isn't an actual physical fall. It can be like they could just be flying around and think um, suddenly that they don't like the God Machine anymore, and they fall out of the air and land like a comet. Others can be more subtle. A man is walking down the street and suddenly he realizes that he no longer wants to do what the God Machine says, and he falls right there. There is no crater smash. There's a magical presence that is detectable of him falling, but humans don't notice it. Normal people don't notice it. Maybe some supernatural creatures could notice it, but only demons and angels are typically sensitive to that sort of thing. So, what does a demon usually do? A demon is usually kind of like a spy. They're trying to fight the God Machine, trying to make sure that it doesn't carry out its agenda, because it wants to make sure that no one. It wants to make sure that the God Machine's what what they feel is the God Machine's evil intentions should be stopped. Or it could be that they don't think the God Machine is evil. They could think it's like just some sort of neutral entity or good or what have you. But there's always a conflict between a demon and the God Machine in some way. It could be the demon doesn't like the God Machine. It could be the demon doesn't like the angels that work for the God Machine. It could be fine with the God Machine, but think that the system is broken and needs to be repaired. My demon that I'm creating today, Corbin Dallas, is probably going to be neither of those. He's probably going to be a demon that really just wants to have have fun in with humanity, give deals out, and kind of police people in a way, like the Faustian bargain type demon that's like, be careful what you wish for, because if you keep trying to find the easy way out, you're going to find that you might not be getting what you want. So I don't need a lot of when you start with the attributes. What I want is, I want someone who's very social, very manipulative. So when you assign attribute dots, you already get one dot in each of the attributes that should be filled out for you already. for how many you can put into each of these columns, it's in the rule book. It is you can have one column of 5, one column of 4, and one column of 3 in any order that you want. In this case, a primary, secondary, and tertiary. I want my primary primary attributes to be the social attributes. So I get to put 5 dots into social. Really want that manipulative to be high, so I'm going to put my up to about a 2. 2, let's go 3. Because having a nice 4 in a stat can really help you out in a pinch. Additionally, demons are known for having a lot of abilities based off of manipulation, and I can show you that to you in a little bit. Usually I actually don't start with the attributes or the skills. Usually what I do is I start with the embeds and exploits, because those are all based off of how good you are at your other skills. So let's just fill out the other attributes here as well. So presence, give 1 extra 1, so I'm at a 2, and composure I'm at a 2. And as you can see, my composure right now has made my willpower 3, which isn't the best, but we'll see if my resolve goes up, if that affects the willpower. I think it does. Secondary, I'm going to go to the mental attributes, because this guy is probably more of a he's a smooth talker, but he's also got a little bit of intelligence. He's smart enough that he should be able to survive. Maybe a little bit more street smarts than book smarts. Like maybe his intelligence is only a 2, but maybe his resolve is also only a 2. But his wits is a 3. Not the Each one of these dots represents a D10 dice, a 10-sided die that you're going to roll for your skill. So if I were to roll just straight manipulation, I would roll 4 dice. If I was to roll resolve, I would roll 2 dice. So that's that. That's it for the mental. And as you can see, my willpower went up, but only went up to 2 more. So it's resolve plus composure. Yeah, resolve plus composure. Now willpower is important because willpower allows you to get bonuses on your skill checks. Having a willpower 4 isn't the greatest. Also, you can spend willpower to use abilities without breaking your cover, without letting people know that you're a demon. So I might be screwing myself over a little bit here, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So now I have my tertiary attributes to go with. I am not very much. I only get 3 dots to put into tertiary, so I'm only going to go straight down the line. Min-maxing isn't necessary really in World of Darkness. It's like, yes, you can create someone who's just a complete beast in fighting or talking or what have you, but really, like, having average stats isn't the worst thing in the world. So down the line, I'm pretty average on all of these skills. Okay. Or attributes, rather. So now if I'm going to look at my skills, I'm gonna skip skills for right now, because skills can really change what abilities I choose. And this is the one thing I kind of dislike about the Demon the Descent character sheet in Roll20, is that there's a place for your embeds and exploits, but there is no place for your demon form abilities. You have to go to page 3 and scroll all the way down where it says demon form abilities. And this is stuff like, if you have a knife hand in your demon form, this is where it would be written down. But that's It's not actually like this isn't anything. This is just a text field for you to write down that stuff. Whereas if you're over here and you write down your embeds and exploits, this is kind of like it just looks prettier and lets you know what you have access to. So I'm going to try and follow the character sheet as best as I can. It's not the best character sheet, but it works in a pinch. So I'm not doing skill dots. I'm not doing skill specialties just yet because I don't know what this guy is yet. But now I'm going to move to the choosing an incarnation, and I'm going to actually show you a quick reference sheet I made for myself where we're going to choose what type of angel this character was. Now, there are 4 types of angels I have listed here. There's a 5th one that if your storyteller approves, you can use. They're in the Demon the Descent Storyteller Guide. They're called analysts. They are essentially the eyes of the God Machine. They analyze, look around, let the God Machine know what is happening. Then we go into the Destroyer. The Destroyer are known as swords. They're designed to basically kill and destroy people, buildings, what have you. They can... however, the definition of destroyed is very loosey-goosey. It could be you're supposed to kill someone, it could be you're supposed to, like, destroy a car. It could be that you're supposed to destroy someone's relationship, or maybe destroy someone's reputation. Like, it can go in any number of ways. Like, being a destroyer just means that you're destroying something. It could be anything. It can be something that's literal, it can be something that's figurative. You're the person who decides that. There's guardians who are known as the shields, and they're designed to protect. So they can protect people, they can protect objects, they can even protect secrets. I had an idea at one point that I was going to have a angel that was the keeper of the secret recipe for Kentucky Fried Chicken or Thomas's English muffins, because those nooks and crannies are apparently like a corporate secret that they literally sued someone over. So being a guardian angel is not just standing around with a sword and a shield protecting whoever's around. You could be protecting anything, a bridge, someone's copyright claim, anything. Then you have the messengers. The messengers are known as the trumpets. They are designed to essentially deliver instructions to whoever may need it. Essentially, they could be telling angels what their next job is. They could be telling cultists what they need to be doing the next day, or organizing cultists, getting them to a certain location at a certain time. They can even be kind of like destroyers, like sending messages, to send someone a message. They might just burn down someone's house. Like, the message can be like a literal message, or it can be a metaphorical message through killing someone or anything like that. Angels are very versatile in what they can do. Like, if you can think of a reason why your demon would have been a specific angel, it's a good idea. There's also the psychopomp, which are known as the wheels. They're designed to create things. They're the exact antithesis of the destroyer angels. A psychopomp might create a relationship. They might create a building, or they might even create a person at some point. Like, they're literally designed to be the builders of the world. They're known specifically for building infrastructure used by the God Machine on Earth. Infrastructure is essentially the tendrils of the God Machine on Earth. It's the way that the God Machine interacts with Earth. You have you could have a a gun that's a piece of infrastructure. You could have a office building that everyone in there is um, working to deliver the message of the God Machine to various agents in different locations, or angels in different locations. It's really up to you or the storyteller to what extent that may be. So, my guy, he's very much about manipulating people, though he has, at his core, he is definitely someone who thinks there's a greater good out there. He wants to do good by testing humanity, like that kind of like the devil in the in the Bible, who's constantly like testing people's faith. Like, cause I like that idea, though I'm not religious. So let's go with the let's go with the like a messenger would be someone who's trying to make people better, but he's kind of like doing it by tempting them, which I'll get into that later. I think he's going to create deals though. Like he is someone who likes to create a good contract. So I'm going to go with a psychopomp. Psychopomp. So I go over here and into psychopomp. And then if I go back here, we can go into what type of demon am I currently, which we have the Inquisitors, who are trying to figure out what's going on. They're trying to figure out why the God Machine is how the God Machine works. Like they're more people who ask questions. My character doesn't do that. It doesn't ask questions. There's the Integrator, who has a drive to return back to the God Machine, which it's not really what I'm looking for. Like, my character could be someone that thinks they would that that he would possibly um, be doing the God Machine's will by being a demon, but that's probably not it. Then we have the Saboteur, who's just about causing as much damage as possible. That's possible. And then there's the Tempter, where their drive is to replace the God Machine. That's kind of where I was landing on, because the Tempter actually... these are very just quick, short descriptions that I wrote for myself a long time ago for my players. But I think the Tempter is not just that they want to replace the God Machine, but they also like kind of just want to enjoy life. They're not really driven to be... They're more driven to be independent. They really just want to be on their own for the most part. So that's what my guy is going to be. He's going to be a Psychopomp Tempter. It's going to be that type of being. Now, if I remember correctly, the Psychopomps have a special embed that they prefer to use, which I think is the instrumental embed. I'll have to double check. Oh no, there's the mundane. The mundane. Mundane embeds are my favorite because they are kind of like they're very subtle. You're not going to make... you're trying to blend in, you're not trying to kill people, you're just trying to become like hide in the background. So we've got that, and now we need to choose 4 embeds or 4 exploits. Now here's where I'm going to show you the math behind the scenes that I did for this particular game line. So as you can see, there are different skills and attributes that are used for the various different abilities. What I've done is I've actually created a tally of which of the attributes are most used and which are the ones that are least used. So resolve, stamina, and composure aren't really used in any of these abilities that you're going to actually actively use, but that's just because um, those abilities are mostly for derived stats. They're for your health, your willpower, defense, and what have you. In this case, actually not defense, but my apologies. So in this case, you're looking at manipulation is a really good primary, wits is a really good secondary, and then presence, tertiary, and then strength, or and intelligence next, and then strength and dexterity are kind of the last two. Now, even though these are like the least used out of all of them, they're probably the better abilities, I would have to say. There's an ability called Merciless Gunman that is in dexterity that essentially allows you to kill a number of targets up to the number of successes you roll. So if you're rolling all your dice and you get if you get 4 successes on your roll, you can kill 4 people in a scene. It's very powerful. However, my guy is a manipulative bastard, so he's gonna be his manipulative self. He's got a medium presence, if I remember correctly. Yeah, he's got a 2 in presence, which is fine. He has got a 2 in everything else, and then a 3 in wits. So he's pretty balanced as far as that. He's definitely leaning more into the manipulation than other characters might, but he's good. So we know manipulation is going to be my primary. That's what we got. But now we're looking at the what skills would be good for me to have at the moment. And subterfuge is a good one. Occult, expression, intimidation. Like, if I'm looking to just build towards my skills in like a kind of like a little bit like a min-maxy way, but just so that I'm useful, I like this is how I would build my character. I would always put at least a couple of dots into subterfuge, a couple of dots into occult, and then maybe like a couple of dots into expression, just so that I have those covered, because those are used quite a bit. So let's look at the actual abilities, though. I really just want to look at the mundane ones for right now, because as a demon, you must choose one ability from your preferred embeds, and since mundane's mine, I should pick a mundane one first. So I'm gonna uncheck all of these, even uncheck exploit, and just do mundane embed for right now. As you can see, a lot of manipulation, a decent amount of subterfuge. And you should look at your core rulebook for what these do specifically. I'm going with, I have the book open onto the side, but I'm not streaming it, just so that I can see what I might want to do. Let's see, embeds, mundane embeds. They really gave it a name that doesn't sound appealing. So alibi is, it basically creates a duplicate of yourself that kind of does other stuff so that you have an alibi. Authorized lets you get into places you probably shouldn't be. Cuckoo's egg lets you switch an object with a decoy. Those don't really sound like my character. Diversion. basically it's like, look over there, a distraction, and people move away. Don't I Know You? Don't I Know You is a really good one. I like it a lot. Essentially, it gives the impression that you're someone who could be trusted, and basically allows you to open the doors, which doors are a social um, are basically how many like successful roles you need um, to convince someone something, or to make someone more um, pliable to listen to you, or take your take your advice, or even like if you're intimidating them, like make them scared or what have you. I like that. I like Don't I Know You. I'm keeping that in mind. Earworm. They basically, it makes a song get stuck in someone's head and causes them to go insane. Homogeneous memory. Oh, you can basically make everyone who's an eyewitness think, um, use the same cover story that you want them to believe. That's good. That one's a really really good one. Identity theft. Identity theft is powerful. That one, you take over a person's life, and that target, I think they basically become like, they just go around like, oh, they sleep while you use their persona, or they wander around in daze. That that one is kind of powerful too. Like, demons are very powerful in a lot of ways, and I love them in that regard. Let's see. The idle conversation. A demon can choose to engage into a conversation freely without fear of eavesdropping. That that one. That idle conversation and Don't I Know You are really, really itching to be that ability I choose. In my pocket is also a good one. This one just allows you to produce an object out of thin air that you didn't have on you, but it could fit in your pocket, so you just pull it out. I had a player at one point pull out landmines from his pocket, or proximity mines from his pocket a lot of the time. Interference. Exposes the cards that basic. Oh, interference is basically make sure that the angels can't figure out where you are. If you break cover, sometimes angels will get notified of your position, and you need to get out of there as fast as possible, because angels are no joke. Last place you looked. Essentially, you search an area and you find whatever it is you should have been able to find normally. It's a hidden object, and you're able to find it. Living recorder, not really that great. That one just basically turns someone into a so it turns someone into something that you can listen from. It's very situational. Lost, like, basically you could touch someone and make it so that they're a human bug, and then when you meet them again, you can touch them and take all the information from them that was recorded. It's good if you're an investigator and you need to like go into a place with with like a wire, but one that no one can see on you, or if you want to like listen into a conversation someone else has. Very situational in my opinion. Lost in a crowd. This is kind of like being Altair or an assassin from Assassin's Creed. You just blend into a crowd. I always like blending into a crowd because I like hiding in plain sight. meaningless. People lose the ability to comprehend language. That's awesome. Never here. Oh, your target forgets that the demon was even there. Walks into the room and shut this. So there are a lot of modifiers that just affect how the demon was not there. I like that one. I could make a deal with someone and then say, and now forget that we even talked. I forget that they did that thing. It's a demon with a little bit of Occam's razor gives you a bit more cover, which protects you. A lot of very few embeds use primum, which is the demon like power rating. Very few embeds actually use it. It's usually an exploit thing, but in this case, it like adds your primum to your cover. The problem I have is when you're a first level character, it's very, or equivalent of a first level character or rank 1 character, it's very hard to like justify getting an ability like that because you're only adding 1 die to it. Quick change. You can change your wardrobe to fit whatever surroundings you want. I love that. I always love that idea that you could just be like a janitor and like snap your fingers and suddenly you're in a tuxedo. It's awesome. Unperson. Unperson is probably the most effed up ability I've ever seen in World of Darkness. You touch someone and then no one can verify who they are. It is a breaking point for any mortal character, essentially. Basically, it's like in It's a Wonderful Life, where he goes into the alternate world and no one knows who he is. It's very, like, George Bailey, I think, doesn't exist anymore, and people are like, who are you? I've never met you. And he is just, like, traumatized by that. And this is, like, an ability that I'm kind of like, it's paranoia inducing and might be something that a player it might be something to talk to a player about just in case there is something wrong. Like it might be this might be something that could trigger a terrible like fear in someone. Without a trace, the scene forgets that you were there. Footprints are gone, biological material is gone. That is a really powerful one. So I'm going to do, for my embeds, I'm going to definitely do Never Here Without a Trace, maybe? No. Don't I Know You and Without a Trace. I like the idea of never, no one remembering that I was there, but Without a Trace is a lot better for escaping the angels, I feel. So I'm going to do that, and we're going to say my primary ability is going to be Don't I Know You, and the other one is going to be Without a Trace. If I look here, Without a Trace, it's manipulation plus investigation. If I look Don't I Know You, it's manipulation plus subterfuge. So those are in very different places on the chart, but we'll see how that goes later. I'm going to do an exploit, and I'm actually not going to finish this character by the time I need to head out at 7:30, but I really appreciate everyone who's watched this and who might be watching this on YouTube if I put it up. Demon the Descent is a very complex game, but after you get past character creation, it can be very quick to build a character. So let's just have everything Can I select all? Select all. So at this point, I basically just want to fill up abilities that might help me in any kind of situation. Um, Exploits are pretty good. Allies into gold, behind the curtain, deep pockets, demon house, disintegrate. Disintegrate, kind of a good one. Ephemeral cover, I can look like a ghost. Hellfire. Hellfire is you turn a gun into, you basically shoot fireballs, kind of. Incendiary, you can set things on fire. Inflict stigmata, you can create what are known as stigmatics, who are the human god machine agents. They essentially kind of like low power, like slightly supernatural humans, essentially. Having at least one exploit I highly recommend because they can be really, really good. Reality enforcement is also really good because it makes it so that angels behave like humans. Perfect. I'm gonna, however, do for my exploit force relation. Oh no, it's a presence. Is it worth it? Yes, it is. Let's do force relationship. I can basically say to someone, you are now my wife. You are now my daughter. You are now my grandfather. You are now my boss. I can. It's very dangerous, however, because that person will eventually forget that. I think they'll forget the relationship after it's done, and they might still remember what happened. So you want to get out of this situation as fast as possible. Okay. I need one more ability, and I want it to be an offensive ability, because if I don't have an offensive ability, I'm kind of screwing myself over. Knockout Punch or Knockout Punch or Merciless Gunman are always a good ability to have. Either one of these I highly recommend. Merciless Gunman is probably the most overpowered ability in the game as far as killing potential goes. If you're doing down and dirty combat, they kill however many characters there are in the scene that you get successes for. If you are doing normal combat, which is something that you do for an angel or other demons or stigmatics, you're probably going to you probably can't use that ability because it's not going to be down and dirty at that point. It's probably you're going to essentially not be able to use that in the same way. However, it does say in the book that you get the 8 again quality for sheet attacks. So really good. Knockout Punch, you hit someone in the face and they just go down unconscious. It is very potent. I like gunplay though, so I'm gonna go Merciless Gunman on that. Since this is World of Darkness, it is, you don't really need to go too far into the abilities. You don't need to go very offensive. It's recommended, but to have some sort of fighting capability just in case, but it's not necessary. Especially for a demon, because a demon can like weasel their way out of a lot of situations, typically. Like my guy can just say, "Don't I know you?" and it'd be like, "Hey, don't I remind you of your like best friend? I just took a wrong turn. Can you please let me go with just a warning this time?" That's a yeah. Create the demonic form. I'm gonna skip that for right now. I'm gonna go back to skills. So 11 skills for my primary, 7 skills for my secondary, and 4 skills for my tertiary. And by skills, I mean dots and skills. So as I said before, my guy is very charismatic, so I'm going to put in 11 skills. That's 10 right now. I need subterfuge at a 3 at the very least, probably, so let's see. That is currently 11. I can just do that. I'm not very socializable, though. Expression isn't always useful. It's good to have just one dot in it sometimes. That's just to be able to read body language. Empathy is also to be, like, read emotion. So I'm going to put 1 into... Oop. 1 into socialize. Every skill has a unskilled modifier. So this one is -1 if it's an unskilled modifier. This one is -1 as well. And mental is -3, which can be really, really detrimental. Again, this guy is probably not so athletic, so I'm gonna do that last. He's probably secondary into mental, so he's probably gonna be a little bit investigative, a little bit into the occult. Let's say 2 into the occult, because I always like to have a little bit of an occulty character. Politics 3, because he's definitely someone who's had to, like, make deals with politicians or something and craft laws. That's what this guy is. He's probably, his concept is going to be some as a Faustian lawyer, because lawyers are evil, right? I don't even know if I spelled Faustian right, but we'll see. Now for physical, I gotta put 2 in firearms just so that I have some sort of ability to do that, to fight. If I want to up my defense, which my defense is currently 2, I can put a dot or 2 into athletics. I actually have a problem with doing this as a DM, as a storyteller, because having a defense that's really high can really screw up melee and make melee take a long time unless you have a giant crowd of people, because defense subtracts how many attacks a melee attack do, or how many dice are rolled in a melee attack. 4 is fine. I'll just put 1 dot in there, and then I'll put 1 dot into stealth. So that way I've got 1 in athletics, 1 in stealth, 2 in firearms. I might have screwed myself over a little bit, but we'll see. As always. Virtue, let's do virtue and vice. Virtue and vice are really, I consider them very much like a backstory type thing for your character, for like how their personality is supposed to be, but this is also like a good, if I were to say that in improv, this is kind of like this is kind of like your prompt for your character. So your virtue is what is a virtuous thing that you like to do. Vice is usually something that you like get a guilty pleasure out of doing. Vices happen more frequently, and they give you back, I think, 1 willpower dot for each use, whereas a virtue is something that you only do once in a while, but it's something that you think is good, or like giving to charity. Like if you gave to charity in a scene, that would instead of using the money to bribe someone, that would be a virtuous thing, and that would get you all your willpower points back. But my guy's vice is definitely making deals. Making deals might be a little bit too general. Making tempting offers, or just tempt. Let's be a tempter with the vice of tempting. And then the virtue as something that I only do once in a while, but I feel like it's a good thing. I think following the law, because he's a lawyer, so being lawful. It's always good to have that lawful character sometimes. It doesn't mean he's lawful stupid. No, that means like he's like, hey, we're doing our tax returns. There's a loophole in here, but it's by the law. It's by the book. Okay, and now we can go into what skills specialties I'd like. So usually you have one skill special, you get 4 specialties, one of them has to be cover threatening. So I'm going to have a specialty in firearms, light pistol. I'm going to take a specialty in politics, law. I'm going to take a specialty in intimidation, let's say in cross-examine. Because he's, yeah, you know. Now, he needs something that hints at to his god machine origin, like something that the demon, like this stuff could all be used by his cover and not be cover threatening. Like even the light pistol at a stretch, depending on which state he's from, but in the United States. But let's say I'm gonna go with his skill specialty that is kind of suspect is his it has to be something to do with the occult. I always like having the occult be the thing. So I'm gonna say occult god machine. And demons, even though they are born of the god machine, they are not, or created by the god machine, they are not knowledgeable. They're only given enough knowledge for what they need to do. So maybe this demon, not only did he make deals with humans, but maybe it made deals specifically for the god machine and needed to know how the god machine worked. So occult god machine is a good thing to have. Merits, I get 10 dots of merits. Merits always take a long time. Let's see. Okay, the demon form is going to take the longest time. Demon form. I always hate doing demon form because it's... If you go to demon form on page 196 of the rulebook, demon form is at level 1, you at the first rank you get 3 modifications, 2 technologies, 1 propulsion, 1 process. This is kind of like your robot essentially, but honestly, demons are so much more than being a robot, quote unquote. I'm gonna save demon form for later. This is really, like, your demon form is essential for your character, but I'm gonna have to make this a 2-parter. Demon form I'll cover next time. Anything I can cover in the next 2 minutes very quickly. And we can... not really. Nothing that needs to be explained right this second. Catalyst. Honestly, I didn't even see Catalyst in the rule book. Catalyst. The reason for the character's fall. So this guy, he's a tempter, he makes all these laws. What could have caused his fall? Probably making a modification to a deal, or changing a deal. because the God Machine says, do this deal, and he says, oh, this deal is very one-sided. Maybe we should ask for a little bit more. Because my angel at that point would probably be like, this isn't efficient. We're not getting everything that we could from this target. So he asked for a little bit more, and that caused him to fall. I'd like to thank you all for watching. I'm going to try and put up a part 2. Might not be right now, might be later down in the week, could be even two or 3 weeks. I'm doing this for fun. I'm doing this to help get more people into the game, and I hope you found it informative. Thank you so much. Have a good night. Follow me, subscribe, whatever. I've only had like a couple of videos, so have a good night or morning.